So we are talking about what it means to clear energy and why we do it. Physical, no, when we incarnate, we come into this world, we have a purpose for coming here. We have a purpose for every incarnation, whether you believe in incarnation or not. If you don't, that's fine, because the part of this that will resonate with you or could resonate with you is the part where you go inward and connect to source. You can call that God or whatever that name is for you. The source of all that is. And we are connecting to our source self. So that's where we're working. The physical realm is the last area that creates the manifestation that we create in the other realms. So the pre-matter state is where we are going to work. That means the state before the matter that you're creating manifests. Physical realm, it manifests in that realm. So let's say you have a thought that says, I hate people, or I hate to be around people. That is a thought form. It's an actual being that we've created that follows us around in our mental body. And every time we see someone that we don't like, it gets activated. And what happens when that happens is that we create more of the same. So the universe is very unbiased. The universal energy of and the law of manifestation, or the law of attraction, says that we create more of what we desire. And when we repeat something over and over in our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, the universe says, they must really like that. So let's give her more of that. So let's say I have a pattern of picking the wrong men in my life, which happens to be a strong pattern in many of us, or the wrong woman. And that pattern shows up more and more often. Now, the outpicturing of that manifestation of that pattern of picking the wrong person, it looks different in every situation. But what it does is it brings your awareness to what you're creating, whether you know it or not. And I'm also going to ask Sandra and Nancy to comment on some of the changes that they've experienced in their lives. We've been working together for nearly, it'll be 1 year next month, I believe. And so they have a lot of experiences. And if there's something that you want to share, Nancy or Sandra, on each point, please do. And then we'll move on after that sharing if you want to give an example.
Why I guess it is. Difficult? Why is it so difficult when you can see, when you can see the big picture, and you can understand there's no judgment on, you left the judgment of the 3D. Why is it still so difficult to change?
Well, that's a really good question, because what would all of the default manifesting, creating a reality or a life by default means that there are programs running in the background. Let's use the computer as an example. Programs running like software to keep your whole operating system running. That's one. And everything that you've ever done in this lifetime, any experience we've ever had in any lifetime, is stored in this area, the subconscious. And when we make decisions based on the 3D perspective alone, we use the lower mind, lower meaning that it's finite. It's contained in 3D reality, which is polarity. It's duality. And so you you choose this or that. That's the thinking of polarity consciousness. When you expand into 5D and higher, you open up your ability to see more of what's happening and know that there is something not right. So pain does that. It brings you to that consciousness. And your question has to do with, why can't I change it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So you can change it. You can change it by the intention that you carry around it. But the way that we do create an intention is without any of the lower based energies, such as judgment, including self-judgment. So when we can step outside of who we are in 3D reality, or in, let's say, our linear reality, our day-to-day life, when we can step outside of that, we can watch ourselves from a neutral point of view, carrying out the same program that we've done in the past. And then what happens is you become aware of more of the nuances and the innuendos and the details and the finer points of how you do that. So you can do it. I just help people become aware that they're doing it. And since I've been doing it for so long, I can see those patterns and I can pick them up immediately.
Okay, so it's awareness.
It's awareness. It's expanding the awareness. And that happens with time and intention. And with that comes the knowing that you can. So you gain more and more courage, more and more confidence. And also that courage and confidence spills out into the rest of your life. So it is, it's a growing process it's a process of growth, or a process of evolution. It is why we came here, is to evolve into who we truly are. And what that means is to evolve into the awareness that we are massive consciousness. We are part of all that is, and we are also creator beings. So let's see. I think we should go to the next point if there is one. Intention, it has to be very pure, and it has to be devoid of conflicting information. Who was that who asked the first question before we started recording?
Victoria, and I was asking about the negative and positive, and now you mentioned polarities, and maybe it's just semantics, but when you say higher and lower, positive and negative, that's still duality.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So it's this great point to point out, Victoria. That's why I brought it up now, because in this context, you'll get it. In 3D reality, which is what we're doing right now, we're in linear reality, we can only speak using words that we understand from that reality. Now, I'm going to introduce you to some words, and I'm going to utilize some words that are 5D or and above. So we have the lower mind and we have the higher mind. And we say lower and higher because there's a higher resonance, a higher tonality. I don't know music, but when the fat lady sings and breaks it in opera and breaks the wine glass, that's a high resonance. It doesn't happen when she doesn't hit that note. That resonance is in the higher levels. And I say 5D and above because duality consciousness is in 3 and 4D, and unity consciousness is in 5D. So we move our energy from this 3D linear reality. While we're in linear reality, we move it into the higher awareness, and we operate and we work from that point to release and clear those issues that block us when we're in the lower reality. Does that help, Victoria?
Well, you know, I deal with these words simply because, you know, I've been dealing with the 5D and for several years now, and it just came to the point where even when you break things apart into numbers and higher and this and that isn't unity.
Well, are we in unity?
When you look at the unified field and stuff, I mean,
that's what? Right. But that's the okay. What you're doing is you are seeing reality from two different points of view. When you see reality from polarity point of view, or linear point of view, and multidimensional point of view, it's a very high state to be in. And that's where you can see there's more than just yes or no, black or white. And that's what you're talking about. And so you have to unify in your mind that both exist, because there's much more than just that. And you will, and that's part of this process to be able to step into a higher level of higher mind, higher heart, free will, etc. Step into that area and bring that down with you into duality consciousness. It's not a separation of worlds. It's only separation of worlds because we're seeing it from a duality point of view that separates worlds. So it is a process of unifying both worlds and becoming comfortable in doing so, and then the expansion occurs.
This is Rich. I kind of have a question or experience or something. What I find for me is I can tell sometimes that I'm operating in a different realm. I don't know whether I'm 5D, 3D, or I jump down to -75. I have no idea, but I know things are different, you know? But I find it's how do you hold that and be able to get some kind of control over it? And I'll give you a physical example. I see changes physically, can see changes, and I know something's going on, even when I still feel like I'm just myself.
Well,
For instance,
that's what you focus on, Richard. That's how you maintain that focus. It's a matter of practice and intense focus, and also deciding which thing you want to choose. If you want to choose to stay separate in your own personal vision of what truly is, that will happen. If you choose to bring expanded consciousness into your linear reality world, that will happen. Each one, the bringing the larger expanded view into the limited view is a practice. So let's see, I don't want to wait too long before we actually start the clearings. And
Fay, it looks like Sophia has had her hand up for a while though, before everyone's.
Oh, okay, I don't see hands.
Okay, I'll let you know that.
You're the monitor. Okay, very good. She's the moderator. Sophia.
Hi, sorry about that. Just real quick. I'm so new at this, it's not even funny. So please excuse my ignorance. I'm the type that needs the dummies book version and the CD. So is there something like a book or something for beginners like me? Because when you talk about linear reality, duality consciousness, I am clueless. I am clueless. So is there something that we can start with? Is there videos?
Yeah, we're doing
or something?
We're doing it. So
okay,
stay tuned.
Perfect.
Stay tuned into this, and it's a very
Perfect.
vast subject. And again, let's just go back to that as an example. We want to know this from a book. We want to know this from a audio. We want to know it from a point of view that gives us all of it at once. That isn't how this works. That is finite consciousness. Infinite consciousness is never ending. But so what you're asking is from the point of view of limited, of finiteness. And that's a part of the expansion. And it's the most wonderful experience for me to work with somebody who all of a sudden gets it. It's just a wonderful feeling when someone wakes up and says, I have been walking in a fog, and I see now that I have been walking in a fog. They may have not gotten any more than that, but that is huge. That's a step into awareness. And then everything looks different, the whole world. That brings me to another point. When we want to change our outside reality, the only way to do it, and I'm really going to stress this, is to change our inner reality. Because now this is a little bit hard to grasp, and this will come if you continue doing your meditation and your expansion and your consciousness. So your reality is limited to what you see, feel, hear, and touch and taste. When you go into the expanded space, And it, by the way, Richard and others who use the terms, I don't know what this means or that means, don't worry about it, because you'll hear the terms, and I mean, there are a lot of people on YouTube, but basically you could learn the terms, but you have to learn them from the point of view of what it means for you. This isn't a matter of learning somebody else's method. This is a matter of opening up your own methodology, your own way of doing things. So I do my best to guide you into having that ability, and then how it turns out is completely up to you. So I'm impartial, I'm neutral about how you handle it. I love when people do handle it and they expand on their own, and I nudge them. And sometimes the nudge is a little harder than others, but I try to be conscious of not pushing too hard, but nobody's ever accused me of being too subtle. So you guys keep some paper near you, and if the question comes up and doesn't get answered, we'll take care of it towards the end. Are you all ready to start going into a deeper awareness?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start then to do this.
Ready.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. This 5 to 10 minute invocation where you you may not understand all the things that I say, but you just keep, sticking with the breath, which we'll also start with, and let yourself receive. Let the words just wash over you and see where it takes you in your awareness. And it doesn't matter if you don't know these words or what they mean. Okay, so I want you all to start with a short breath exercise that's actually on my website as a download. It's called the Heart-Mind Resonance. And I put it on there because it's very, very basic. And this Heart-Mind Resonance, if you download it, you can download it for a 3-minute audio that we took out of the meditation. You can download the PDF and just do it yourself. But here's how it goes. Take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And continue doing that as long as you can throughout this invocation meditation. And then you can also do it later when you find yourself in a more constrained feeling state. So we're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Your breath will get slower, more deliberate. Your inhalation will go deeper. Your exhalation will last longer. You will forget that you're breathing deeply, but you will continue because your body likes that. Put your hand on your heart, or touch your heart, or use prayer hands or whatever, or just become aware of your heart space. It's your upper chest. And in this space is the heart energy. On the lower level, it's love, can be romantic love, parental love, etc. On the higher heart energy, it's unconditional love, which is the fabric of all creation. So it has a lot more meanings than what we know of it. In the pre-matter state, it's called plasma. Unconditional love is just the material to create the reality in 3D. So your hand is on your heart, breathing is deep and slow. Now, when you touch your heart or when you focus on your heart, your thinking goes to the heart. And the reason for doing this little exercise, it's a standalone or an intro to a deeper, longer meditation or by itself. You will start thinking with your heart. You're connecting your thinking with your feeling state. This is the first step to raising consciousness. Feelings and thoughts tell us things. They're messages from our higher self, our soul self, our source self. And the third step in this little exercise is to think of something that you deeply love or deeply appreciate, like your children or your parents or your partner, or even cherry pie. It's the feeling of that high energy of love. Even though it's linear dimension, it's still love. And we're going to carry that and create it, merge it with unconditional love. So we come together today for the very first time in this setting to enter the unified field of energy in order to release energies that are lower density of the finite duality world, that keep us stuck in patterns that we don't want to be in. And it's quite an amazing thing that when we release the things that are in our way, we are automatically happy, because that is the human's natural state. And automatically resourceful and wise and so forth. So we come together and we see ourselves as the center of the unified field. The unified field is the upper area of manifestation, the higher realms. We are the 0 point. We are the center of that 0 point energy. We'll also call it the rainbow field of fifth dimension and higher. We focus our attention as the center of this field, and we notice that we are in the center of a vertical pillar of light. This vertical pillar of light contains all the colors of the rainbow and even more than we can see with the physical eyes. So we focus on that and we see that it surrounds us. It comes from up, down from above, and up from below. It comes up from below, from the heart of Mother Earth. And as it does, we take this energy from the heart of Mother Earth and we put it in our hearts. And then we put our attention on what's coming up from above, which is from Source. And quite literally, this energy is coming through our sun, from the galactic core. And as we do this, we unite our 3D, 4D bodies with our 5D cells, or higher density dimension cells. This creates a unification within our source self. This is the unification of the trinity of our 3D, 4D, and 5D bodies, our cells. So as we do this, we are creating a trinitized energy, which is the energy of creation. As we do this, we invite also our source self to be in on this exercise, this session of clearing that we're doing. We invite the members of our galactic families, whether we know them or not, because they are there to protect us, serve us, and guide us, and also our archangelic family of angels. So we do this to generate and accelerate our ability to manifest our reality. And as we do this, we cleanse and spin our energy fields in all these colors that are spinning around us in all directions, from all directions. Picture of an atom with the electrons on the outside spinning, and there are many, 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 many more of those in this vertical pillar of light, and they all contain different colors. Colors are different vibrations, they're different frequencies, and they're the higher frequencies of health, happiness, well-being, bliss, non-judgment, acceptance, and so on, compassion. So we do this to cleanse and spin our energy fields and connect with our divine light body. This helps us to release trauma and toxins from all levels, and we expand our fields, and we link ourselves to our light body matrix and send our love and light into this wheel of energy that becomes our own personal toroidal field. This carries us into the past and the future, and this is where we get our answers. Our matrix, as we do this, our matrix settles in symmetry and balance and beauty and purity throughout all the dimensions, and this affects our thoughts, our feelings, and our physical bodies. It also helps to clear away what we've inherited ancestrally from trauma and other karma. And this helps us to become aware that we are fractal source creators. So we are a fractal of source or God, and we have the same ability to create. We can transform energy or transduce it or transmute it. We are potentiators for change, and that means that we can create our own reality in a positively polarized blueprint instead of negatively polarized. We activate those codes, those latent DNA codes that are known to us as junk DNA, but they're really not junk. They're in our fields, and they get activated every time you do a meditation and every time you have a high vibrational energy, feeling, thought, or action of compassion and generosity and so forth. So as we become aware that this is who we truly are, we are activating all these different codes. You can also see them as color flames. We project our highest loving thoughts and our highest joy, heavenly joy, into our love light and light love bodies to create a higher polarity in our energy fields. And this raises the frequency of our entire being, which is the purpose of this invocation and meditation, because we're creating a merge point for the 3D self to merge with the essence, the true essence of all that we are. And we move into this unified field with an activated light body and become more unified and integrated and balanced. And this is where we gain the ability to hold multidimensional thoughts at once. You can hold opposite viewpoints at the same time. We anchor into this love body, this higher vibrational body, as we move into the energies of healing and love. This is an emerald color, that's the heart. The flame of sapphire flame of intelligence and love, that's the mind. And the golden portal of energy of will and free will choice, that's the solar plexus. This is our personal portal, our personal gateway to inner space. This is where everything is really happening out in the world, outside of us. That's just the result of where everything is happening in the higher levels. So we acknowledge that we are able to do this as co-creators, even if we've never done it before, because our intention is to do it. So we stand within the all that is, we stand beside the all, and we stand as the all, as the holders of this incredible ability to activate our latent DNA. And this helps us to spin our DNA into higher and higher states of the crystalline matrix, which is also part of the creation code or vibration that exemplifies the real law of one, that creation and creator are one. So as we do this, we also balance our right and left brain hemisphere and create unity within us out of polarity. This is marrying the divine feminine with the sacred masculine, and also bridges the space between our right and left brains so that they become more unified in 3D reality. And we are the instruments of the divine this way. We are source co-creators We are fractals of Source, and we receive more awareness as Source co-creators when we operate from multidimensional reality or perspective. And we become more fully individualized and integrated as a human in the linear world, but it helps us to become more coherent and congruent and cohesive in that world as well. So we fully embrace this unity consciousness. We do this by using our own personal tools of discernment and clarity, which come from above or expanded. And we activate our personal Stargate system, which is the combination of our mind, heart, higher heart, will, free will choice. So we've just taken the 3D perspective of those three areas of our body, our chakras, and our awareness, and we've merged them to create the portal. And so with these words, we create and seal this entire statement with our energy signatures. And we embody the new archetype. We become the archetype and as the creator of our own reality. It is so, and so it is. So I'm going to start in the process of clearing, but first we have to have a sort of a theme. Now the theme can be, let me just say that the theme that I work on all the time is specific to the person I'm working with. However, we all have them in common. So we could be working simply with removing obstacles to knowing their true self. That's pretty universal because a lot of people don't know who they truly are. So that's one theme. Nancy and Sandra, if you have a suggestion to throw in about what direction you'd like to see this go in for the assembly members, that needs to be pretty universal and pretty basic. Please speak up.
Thank you, Faye. Yes, I think that this is a wonderful first step for a lot of people that are here that are coming to this place for the first time, but it's not really the first time because it's a natural thing to us. It's really more of a bringing it to your attention or putting it into your current realization, you know? So I just want to see the assemblies find themselves inward and be at peace with what connects us to the higher to the higher meaning of things. And you know, you mentioned how things also accelerate when you go to these higher realms because you're more aware and you are more activated. It's really been a positive change for me, and I think everyone needs to go through this process and does in some way or another. But having the right support and having people that have a similar journey with you really makes it more special. So I really would love to see this continue forward, and I would love to see what else other people want to do.
Okay, so that's good. That is an intention that we're going to hold for all assembly members. We're going to hold that for the group. Sometimes we can do it for the collective consciousness. We could do it for all the assemblies. Let's just start here, and if it's appropriate, I'll be told that, and then we can expand out for that. And so when we start out with, excuse me, what is blocking us from knowing our true self? That will also cover what Sandra just shared, and that is it'll give everyone the ability to go inward and have more peace within themselves. And when we have more peace within, we can extend that. That does automatically extend outside of us. That's how we create our reality, is by doing it first within us. So, and it's going to mean different things to everybody, but I will say this: if something comes up like an emotional trauma that's fear-based, everybody has it somewhere. So when we do this clearing, I'm doing it for each one of you individually. I'm doing it for each one of us as a group here today. The clearings will also apply to those that listen to this recording after it's finished. And it is also a way for people to become accustomed to not only the language that we're using, but also to the method of and the practice of going within and raising awareness and operating from that point of view. So, well, let's start there. Now, I'm going to just take a second and say this up front, that everyone on this call has given me their consent by being here to act as their proxy. And how I do this is I go in and use my own body as a proxy for a client, private client, or a group. And I can ask questions faster and get answers faster, but they are coming from the records of the group and individuals. So if anybody has a problem with consenting to that, please speak now. And it's just a formality to have permission. We honor and respect everyone's sovereignty. A lot of this work you will learn different and more expanded meanings of terms that we use in assemblies, like sovereignty. Anyone else, you feel free to, the Colorado members have my email address.
Yeah.
Let's keep it that way, simple. I'll give it out right now. And also on my website, fayferris.com, you could get a lot of questions answered that you may want to refer to. So my email address is my name. It's very simple. Well, let's see. Let me use Gmail for this, because then I'll have them separated out and know where they come from. It's fayferris1, Fayferris, number 1, at gmail.com. And then put in the subject, clearing question, LA Assembly, or something like that, assembly member.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for putting that up. So we're going to start now. I'm going to first just take a minute and connect with the energy of us as a group, and if possible, collective energy of all the assembly members. So now we're going to ask the question, and when we ask these questions, it goes into the area or the Hall of Records, which is also known as the Akash, or the Hall of Amenti. It is where everything is stored, past, present, and future. And you have access to that as well. So what is it? The first thing that we can do to clear away any blocks from knowing the true self. Now, this is a big question, and it really encompasses many things. All the things that we talked about, how to bring that energy down into our reality, our everyday 3D reality, how to utilize it in this reality. So how do we do that? What's blocking us from doing that? And this is what we're going to release. Now, to explain to you how I do this, I do a quick muscle test. I ask the question. Mostly I'll get an intuitive hit, but when I'm addressing a lot of people and my multiple Geminis are at work in my mental body, I'm a little distracted, so I will rely on muscle testing. And since I am representing the whole, the records that I'm going to are also part of the whole. So the first thing that we're going to do is, and I muscle test going through a whole almost 300 different icons, and then it takes me to this specific one. And this is, okay, this is an energy conglomeration. We'll call it a miasm. Now, let me just find out a little more about this. Okay, this is an energy. A miasm is an energy of low vibrational frequency. We usually inherit them from our parents in that lineage, or could go back as 50, 100 generations, could go back really far. I think the farthest one I ever worked with was 50 generations or so. Doesn't really matter. And when we do this, we're going to clear the miasm for everybody that also had it in your lineage. In this case, this miasm was created and imposed on every human that was incarnated on this planet. This is what usually happens in a group clearing. It's taken out of the personal realm and expanded into the realm of what we all have in common. So this miasm is a conglomeration of low vibrational energies that we inherited when we came in. So let me find out some more about this. Well, it definitely is a conglomeration of energies that is blocking us from that clear channel of knowing the self, of being able to go from where we are now to where we experience all that is. So this miasm, let's see if I can get some more information on that. I'm going to call on Sandra and Nancy. If you feel something coming up that you, because we've worked so much together, that you see that I don't see about this, please bring it up.
I do feel that it's centered in the see, when the third chakra, the solar plexus.
It is fear-based for sure. Yes, and let's see. Okay, it's the fear of the unknown, really, and so that fear can manifest in just so many different ways in every one of us. We don't need to know any more than that. So the clearings with groups usually are more expansive and less in depth, but they are deep. I don't need to go in depth because it's different for everybody. So let's go ahead and clear that. Now I'm going to go through a little practice. And this is just my way of consciously and verbally putting the intention out there to clear and transmute this energy. So this energy is a miasm made up of many, many different fear-based energies that we all inherit as we come in, and that is a fear of the unknown. So we are calling on our spirit teams of the highest resonance. This includes our higher selves, to help us to clear and transmute this energy. So we clear it across all aspects of time and no time. We clear this energy across all lifetimes and all timelines. That means all alternate timelines that are existing now alongside this timeline that we're on. We clear from all space. We clear from all space, time, and time, space. And we clear it from all realities, all illusions, all holograms, and all projections that we live in, and all of their entanglements. And we clear it throughout all dimensions and all densities, infinitely wide, infinitely deep, and infinitely high. And if I've left anything else out, any other space that this fear could be hiding in or manifesting in, we clear from there as well. Sometimes you'll feel lighter after clearing. Before we do that, though, I'm going to transmute this miasmic energy, this big ball of fear-based energy. I'm going to ask for some help to transmute it. We are co-creators. We have the ability to change alchemically the vibration, the energy signature of low-based energy to higher energy, higher frequency. So we are going to transmute this energy of the fear-based miasm into the polar opposite of fear, and that would be unconditional love. And higher aspects of that would be compassion, bliss, happiness and joy, celestial joy. I always get a little jolt, a little twitch somewhere in my body when it releases. You might get the same thing or not. Doesn't matter, it's still releasing. Even if you can't see it or feel it, it is releasing. Once we release something, it can never return unless you recreate it. I mean, it's gone forever unless you recreate it. And chances are we have multiple miasms, each one of us. But that's what this process is about. So paying close attention to the process of asking, identifying, asking, releasing, clearing, and transmuting is the process of integration into our shadow self. So we have cleared that. We're going to move on. What else can we release as a group that is blocking each of us from access to our higher self, our source self, our true self, to the expansion of our mind, heart, and will? So this one is a little different. Okay, and there is a disconnection. So this disconnection, it can be in the physical, mental, or spirit bodies, or it could be between them. So let's find out where this one is. Yes, Nancy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I felt that last one on the left side of my body, and as you cleared it, it cleared, but I felt a separation where it still felt like it was in the right side of my shoulder blades.
Mm-hmm.
It cleared the left, but the right side feels like it's still involved. So there's something that's still, I don't know if it's what you're clearing now, but that's the way it's coming through from my body.
Okay. And if you can see that and feel that happening while we're clearing, you can just have the intention to add that to it. Whatever's causing that, you can clear it and put it through that process in your own body, your own mind. But it does have something to do with what we're clearing next. We have a spiritual disconnection with some aspect of our 3D life, with our spirit life, our 5-dimensional life and above. That's what we're working on. This is a block. There's a channel that's being blocked. There's many channels between our lower dimensions and our higher dimensions. And this particular channel is blocking a connection that facilitates our knowing who we truly are, or accessing that information. So this is that specific block that originates in the 3D and is blocked from communicating with the 5D. So let me just figure out a little bit more about this. Okay, and this is so timely. I mean, usually what we end up working on in private sessions and also in group is what we've just talked about. So this is our 3D reality channel connecting to our 5D and above reality channel. This is what's blocked. So there are other variations of the disconnection between 3D and 5D, and that could be something like a disconnection in knowing or in a personality self you know, our personality thinking, our 3D linear self, it could be being blocked from connecting. But in this case, it's our whole reality, our perspective of our reality in our regular life. This channel represents our perspective. And in that channel, that perspective is blocked. So let's start there and release what's causing this blockage. So this energy that's causing it, it's called an offensive energy. It's an outside energy. And I'm going to just elaborate a little bit on that. This is an energy weapon. So this energy weapon was created by an entity that's not physical. Now, in fourth dimension, there are a lot of people, entities without a body. And if a person dies and they haven't moved on for some reason, they don't know how, they don't have a clue how to do it, they don't have help, but it could also be because they're attached to the feelings of 5 senses in the 3D world. And also there are entities that never had a body, and they literally can be trapped souls working for a higher consciousness that does their dirty work. So let's just call it an entity. And this energy weapon, we'll call it a saboteur, was created by an entity. Now, usually in a group setting, energy weapons are they are created as soon as we incarnate. Let me just ask, was this one that? Yes. There's also, you can have an energy weapon directed at you before you actually are conceived, but that's another story. So this was an energy weapon that was activated upon incarnation. You see, let's go back to staying neutral, because our reason for coming here was to remember who we are. And the only way we could do that was to lose our memory of who we are and then be presented with choices to make that would take us back eventually to who we truly are. Some people make very bad choices throughout their whole life, but if they have the experience of something very painful and draw the wisdom out of that experience, chances are they're not going to have that experience again, or at least it's going to be less and less and less of the trauma. And if a person chooses to make a higher decision, that means that they are taking a path closer, more in the direction to source. They're both leading to your source self. One is a little more roundabout, one is more direct. But we came here to have the experience of being in a physical body, forgetting who we truly are, and then going back to our source self, or back to God. So this energy weapon was activated when we incarnated. So when we came into a physical body, so literally it was while we were in a fetal stage. And let me see if I can find some more information about it, because it's usually something. The weapon itself is symbolic. So the weapon symbolizes something in 3D, but it's beyond 3D. Let's see what this weapon would be. Symbolically, would it be a weapon like a knife or a rope or a chain or a bullet from a gun? Would it be more of a non-physical type of weapon? It would be more non-physical. It's more like
I'm getting bioweapon.
Biological. This is more non-physical. but it affects the physical.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like a belief system or a pattern of belief or a belief in something that literally becomes a weapon to the body, to the physical life. So staying neutral, sometimes I think, oh, damn, we have another one of these, but we have to stay neutral, because every time we uncover something like this, we realize this is another path to knowing ourselves. Why did that happen? It's obstacles to knowing the self. So this is a non-physical weapon, like a belief or a belief system or a set of beliefs. Okay, let's see if I can pull in a couple of those. And which is the one that's predominant now? The belief that this is all we are. So this is a belief that your life consists only of what you can see, smell, hear, taste, and touch. This is very basic. So this is a belief that you are only your physical body or your physical reality. And this is what is, this weapon keeps most people from knowing who they truly are. So I'm going to just go ahead and release it. Now, when we don't know who we truly are, this weapon will actually help us to make decisions that will hurt our body. So it's literally a bioweapon. And we can see that playing out in today's world as well, with when people aren't discerning by what they take into their bodies, from, all the junk food and all the fast food and all the food that actually steals life from the body, all the way to medications that are anti-life, which all drugs are. Anything that's against life, anything that suppresses natural life is could be a literal bioweapon, but it's our belief in them that is the actual weapon. So we're going to go ahead and release this now. And I just got a message that we can release this for ourselves, for our collective here, for our assembly collective of the whole, not just this country, but the whole world, because the whole world is assembling. So we can release this out of the collective consciousness, just to put all that into one or two words. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to call upon our spirit teams of the highest resonance. We're calling upon our higher self, a source self as well, to join in this process of releasing, clearing, and transmuting the energy signature of this belief system that we are only physical beings. That's all that we are. So as we do this, we ask for some help from our upstairs neighbors and our higher self, and we release this signature, this energetic, out of our consciousness, out of our energy fields, out of our physical body, wherever it manifests, across all time and no time. We release it across all aspects of time, timelines and lifetimes. We release it across all space and all space-time and time-space. We release this energy signature from all realities that we create, all illusions that we create, all holograms and all projections that we create, and all of their entanglements. We release this energy signature of a weapon in the form of a belief in that we are only physical beings. And however that plays out in everyone's life, we release it for us, ourselves, for the collective consciousness, from the collective consciousness. And we release throughout all dimensions and densities, infinitely wide, infinitely high, and infinitely deep. And we ask that it be transmuted into its polar opposite, which would be something like the awareness, the higher awareness that we are more than these bodies and what that is. What are we aware of who we are? We become aware of who we truly are. That's the opposite energy. So we raise this signature of that belief into a new reality. And we let it go. And I want this reality to also be dispersed throughout the collective consciousness, that it affects everyone who wants to receive it, who's open to receiving it. And the soul always determines that. So we're not stepping on any free will. All right, so that is done. Does anyone have an experience from doing that? Releasing this belief or the energy of it?
I don't know if somebody was doing a bowl or something, but it sounded, I heard like a frequency. I heard like somebody, you know how when you take your finger and you wet it and you put it on top of a glass?
Oh, you heard the sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the sound when the first clearing, very faint.
Yeah.
The second time, even more. But this whole time, because I've been breathing, I'm new to this, so I don't know if it's, but my whole left arm, especially my left hand, felt very, very heavy, but it's tingly.
So it was the energy.
And the sound.
Yeah.
And
so
the sound.
You're clairaudient, and that will develop even more as you meditate more and more.
I'm sorry, I'm what?
Clairaudient.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay. Audio, sound. You have clear sound, clairaudient.
Oh.
There's a lot of us have many other gifts than the five senses.
Okay.
And mine is a feeling sense. I'm clairsentient, predominantly. Nancy and Sandra have other predominant gifts that they're exploring, finding out. And because you heard that, I would say that you probably have a predominance or what am I trying to say? You have a leaning toward hearing, higher hearing. Not to say that you don't have anything else. That's not true, but that could be your main entry point. So you might want to listen to crystal bowls, or those bowls, singing bowls they call them, and that may open up your higher dimensional, higher mind, higher heart, because that's where you have a tendency. So very good. Tina, the first thing you have to do, this is really important, is the wording that you're using. So words, thoughts, and actions are very important right now because they are manifesting so fast. So I can't do this right now, but I'm on my way to doing it. I can't do this right now, but I'm getting there. If you have to say, I can't do this, you always have to neutralize it. But you'll get to the point where you can say, I know I can do this. I'm going to keep at it until I actually can do this. So that's what's stopping you. And yes, we are the creators of our reality. So we do these things to ourselves out of our protection. That's why we've lost our memory, because if we knew how powerful we were right away, we'd probably be killed. Because there are people that don't want us to have these powers. They don't want us to exercise this. So you just have to keep doing it, but change your point of view. You've told me, I know I can do, I remember having had that, then I lost it. Nobody did it to you. Even if somebody did it to you, you consented to it because you lost it. Because nobody can do anything to you without your consent. And it's kind of a convoluted consent, but it's still consent. So you have to focus on how you present this to your everyday life. And if you're constantly going to say, I lost it, I can't find it, you will constantly be creating, I lost it, I can't find it.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. I want to keep it real simple.
Okay.
Okay. So what we just did may help. because what we're doing is we are generically clearing that's keeping you from remembering. And other people were generically clearing what's keeping you from connecting to your higher self. And that's keeping you from remembering who you really are on all levels, whether it's your past, who you were, or whether it's your gifts, or whether it's any aspect of your wisdom or knowledge. So let's continue. Okay, good. So we're still working on what it is that's causing this channel that connects our 3D reality with our higher realities. What blocks it? So we're still at that point. We're going to be there because it could go on for a long time, but it's very all-encompassing. It'll pick up for each one of us what needs to happen. Holding your own intention, and I'm holding the intention for us all. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove an emotional energy. This is what we call an emotional resonance with a lower vibrational emotion. This is something we all have in common. This is not inherited. This is something that we've all created ourselves. And it is the energy of longing. This is great. I worked on longing in the last few days in several ways with clients and also in our work last night. In fact, I have this little thing that I do where I attract all the negative energy of certain things to my field, and then they get neutralized as they touch my field. And then I transmuted them into something higher. So this is very timely. Longing is the energy of not getting what you want. Now, think about that for a second. It is the energy of lack. And with continued longing for what you're not getting, you continually get what you're not getting. We continually create that. So when we have longing, there are many, many emotions like longing that are attached to the energy of lack. So what I did last night was I released 3 of those applications. And I'm going to tell them to you before we do this so that you can actually choose what you want to focus on. All of them or one in particular, doesn't matter to me, or even something that it triggers another one that you realize that you have. This is an energy of lack that's related to longing. So what I transmuted was, first of all energies of lack. And I transmuted this into its opposite, which is abundant life energy. Then I also released and transmuted all underlying aspects of the energy of lack. For instance, longing, lust, etc. They all have they're all underlying aspects of lack. Something we don't have that we want. So we did that, the same with that. And the last one was the fear of always being overshadowed by lack. That comes in many different forms. It can come in the form of fearing that we'll never be able to have what we want, that we're always in survival mode and we'll never be free of this desire to want something. So those are the 3 aspects. And you may think of some more. Let me see. We're going to work on this resonance with this energy. This is what everyone here has, is a resonance with this longing energy. It's much lighter than the actual trapped emotion of longing. Okay, so we're ready to release this. What we do when we examine something that comes up is we examine it from multiple points of view, like we just did, and we acknowledge that it exists within us, which we have done, and then we release it, we clear it, and transmute it into a higher vibration, which we're about to do, and then we integrate it. This is all our integration. So the longing that we're all carrying, that we're going to release soon and transmute, is a part of our shadow self. And in that releasing, we can't get rid of a part of us. We have to integrate it into who we truly are. Who we are, our wholeness. We are going to integrate this part of our little part of our shadow self into our wholeness. And that's part of what we do when we do this. So we're ready to release this resonance with the energy of longing across all aspects of time. We also call on our spirit teams of the highest resonance to assist us along with our higher selves. We are actually operating from the higher self mode, but we're going to verbally say it so it's a reminder. And we release all aspects of this energy of longing from all of time and no time, from all timelines and lifetimes, and from all of space and all space time, and from all time space. We're also releasing it from all of the realities that we live in, all of the illusions that we live in and have created, and all of the holograms and projections that we create, and all the entanglements of these things. We release that longing energy from all of it, and we release it from all dimensions and densities, infinitely wide, deep, and high. This energy of longing is deep and wide in humans, and so any of the entanglements, anywhere that they appear in us, we release it, and we want to transmute this energy into its highest aspect, its highest octave, and that would be the energy of transmuting into the energy of abundant life, which I am using instead of the word abundance, because abundance has other meanings attached to it, from overuse, more 3D meanings. So abundant life means that everything that resonates as a life-giving, life-enhancing vibration. So we're taking this energy of lack, which we call the resonance with longing, and transmute it into that expression of abundant life. Is there any feedback from anyone on releasing that and transmuting longing? Okay, so what else can we do that will help to unblock this channel, that will connect our perspective from the 3D to the 5D with more fluidity? And also, I'm saying these questions out loud because when we ask a question to our higher self, to the universe, to anyone that's bigger than the physical, any direction, you have to get an answer. When we ask a question to the universe or to spirit or to God, we have to get an answer. There's a whole process, asking a question, knowing that we can get the answer, and then allowing that to happen. And Nancy is going to tell us what that is.
Oh, I was just going to tell you that I keep getting, each time you ask that question, I keep getting, we need to understand I do not consent.
Okay, that's a good one. So, okay, guys, remind me, we released longing. Yes, we're on the next one. Okay, so the do not consent is really big right now because we are being oppressed because of our lack of consciously being aware of not consenting. So it's consent by not not consenting. It's very convoluted. And so whenever you feel, this is a really easy way to clear energy. Whenever you feel a low vibrational feeling, anger, hatred, resentment, fear, shame, guilt, when you feel something like that, that's the perfect time to let it go. And you can simply say to that energy, because every energy is an actual entity, it's a being, you can simply say, I don't consent to feeling this way anymore. And whatever's causing that, I want to clear it right now. That is you taking a stand, not consenting to it, and letting it go. Now, there are other steps, thinking about it, and also we call it analyzing it. And we're doing that now in this conversation. We're analyzing these feelings like we did with longing. If you do that and then you clear it and release it and then transmute it, your intention is actually changing the shape of that entity that we know as longing, whatever it is, fear, whatever it is. And the most important part of all of that is integrating it, not getting rid of it or killing it. It's a part of us. It's a part of us that we have explored, and now we're integrating it into our whole. So next time we have that same emotion, because it's a buildup, we can say, no, I still don't consent. I'm clearing that now. I ask for my guides, tell me clear it. You don't really have to know what you're doing, but these are the steps to doing it. And eventually it'll be so familiar to you that you will just do it automatically, because you'll recognize, I don't really want to feel this way or think these thoughts, so I'm going to release them. I'm not consenting to them. Okay, so any questions on that?
That was a really good one. Thank you, Nancy. That was really good.
Was a good question, yeah.
You're welcome.
She does a lot of good questions. Okay.
Well, this is Rich. I had something, I guess, that keeps coming up. It's kind of related to that, but I don't know how much. My deceased wife used to say that she knew I heard from God. I would audibly hear certain things, but as I started waking up, I had an experience when I was listening and talking in my prayer time. And I used to have this code so that I would speak and try to screen, okay, is this the voice of God, or is this a entity or anyone trying to interrupt?
Right.
And I had something that I never said to anyone, and never whispered even to my wife or anyone, so that I could keep that between me.
Yes.
And then this person or thing, whatever, said my code word and phrase. And after they said that, I said, who is this? And I heard Sasha. And since then, I mean, I felt total betrayal. I'm like, how did that happen? I didn't know anything about skull to what they call a voice of skull.
Voice to God. Yeah, voice to God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, voice to skull. Oh, wait. What is it called? Voice to skull.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But what it has done for me is it's put a block in my communication or attempt to communicate with the creator, because it's like, I don't trust any voice there. So I guess it's a fear that I've been trying to overcome and actually, utilize that. I took it as a gift because it worked for me through the years. But when this person, Sasha, shows up, I'm like, what in the world is this?
Okay, so what you've done indirectly was give consent when Sasha's, here's what, the only thing you have to do is to preface your intention before you make a connection, that you only want to speak with an entity that's for your highest good. So that's why I always say we invite my spirit team of the highest resonance. Anyone that's a lower resonance, and you see, we already have our angels that protect us, and our guides and our teachers, they're already part of us. So they're of the highest intention. But unless we preface going into an area that they have to have the highest intention, the highest resonance, you can even state, I will not speak to anyone lower than ninth dimension. That is your not giving consent. And that was the problem. You didn't know that piece. And so when you said, what was it? You said that code that you had, that was in your field. That was in your Akashic records. And they can do that. They can read it and then they can trick you. And you have a good sense of knowing, which is what most people lack. But because you have a sense of knowing, you knew enough to stop. And not take direction from. A lot of people are very enthralled with the whole sensationalism of it. You know, like I can channel, and they are channeling entities that aren't in for their highest good. So these are catchphrases that you can incorporate into that. If you're here for my highest good, great. If you're here of the highest resonance, and you can specify where you want it. You can say even 12th dimension. Or I will only speak with source. That is your connection, your source self connection to the creator of all, because you are part of that. You're a fractal of that. So that's the only thing you really have to change. And I think you will have the confidence that is needed to go back in there and preface, nobody comes near you unless they're of the highest resonance.
Well, thank you for that. That's something I definitely needed.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Richard. Thank you for bringing that up. So let's continue on and go into we're going to wrap this up with one more clearing, as we will be soon. I wanted to keep this under 90 minutes, but it doesn't happen. I love doing this. I love all your questions. I love everyone's willingness to do this. It's so valuable to everything that's going on in the world, to the whole consciousness shift. We're in an ascension mode, and we need all the help we can get, because we have powers and abilities that will override anything that we see on this planet that isn't for the highest good. That's how this all ties into the assemblies. All right, so what's the last thing that we can do, or the next thing we can do? Well, first, is there anything more that we need to do that will open up this channel of our 3D perspective linking with our 5D perspective? No. Okay, we're complete on that. So let's see, is there anything else we need to do now? We need to do one more thing. And that would be to clear an energy that is, it's a miasm. Is this inherited? Yeah, this is inherited. So this miasm is another one from all time. Now, I've had quite a few of those. Let's see if I can pick this one up easily. This miasm is another conglomeration of low vibrational energies that we inherited through our lineage this time, through our lineages, because all lineages have it. And it's like that first one that was fear-based, fear of the unknown. So this is in miasm that has to do with, okay. This has to do with environmental, epigenetics. Yeah. So this has to do with epigenetics. And that means that it's inherited through our lineages, through the way that we are taught to live. So, when they say, cancer runs in my family, this idea that cancer runs in your family is probably less than 4% of the actual cause of cancer. What actually causes cancer and looks like it's genetic is the actual repetitive lifestyles that we learn from our parents and our grandparents and so forth. So let's say diabetes runs in your family, but you continue eating the same way that your diabetic parents cooked when you were a kid, you're going to have diabetes. In fact, a lot of people, well, on my father's side, most of the people had diabetes, and on my mother's side, most of them had cancer. So those codes, they're built into our genetic inheritance, our genes. So it's up to us to nullify and neutralize them by doing something else, having a different lifestyle, eating differently. So I've had many challenges, health challenges in my life, and everyone in my family has them too, all my siblings. And yet I'm the only one that, releases, neutralizes. Nobody, I'm the black sheep. I just don't have a family anymore because we're not on the same page. And so I honor that for them, and this is my path. So this miasm is energy, ball of energy that was low vibrational, that can cause disease, ill health, and it's through epigenetics, because most people will continue to do what they learned to do when they were young. So this miasm contains all those things specifically to each one of us. They're different, but we're going to clear this because that also keeps us from exploring these realms that if our parents didn't, then there's no value to us. So if you're really locked into a family dynamic and you do only what your family has shown you, then even if you are not locked into it, there are hidden parts that are playing out too. So that's what we're going to release right now, and then we'll be clearing and transmuting this miasmic energy that we've all inherited. It's different for everybody, but it's the same in that it comes through our lifestyle, through our inherited epigenetics, not genes, but lifestyle. And so we call upon our spirit teams of the highest resonance. And Richard, you can determine in advance, like you did with your code, who your spirit teams of the highest resonance are, and then you just call on. You don't have to do that every single time. So you can shorten it to something like that. So we call upon our spirit teams of the highest resonance to assist in this clearing and this transmutation and integration of the energy of this miasm. We do this and release it across all aspects of time and no time and all lifetimes and timelines. We release this energy signature from all space and all space, time and time, space. We release it from all realities, all illusions, all projections and holograms, and all of the entanglements with all of that. And we release it throughout all dimensions and densities, infinitely wide, infinitely deep, and infinitely high. We ask that this miasm, and our intention is to transmute this miasm into its the highest octave of its polar opposite energy. And that would be whatever that is. So we do this and release and transmute, clear that energy from our field, replacing it with higher vibration energy signature for all of the collective consciousness we're doing. I'm doing this for the collective as well. So we've completed that, and we could go on for a while, but And usually the first time is the longest because I have to explain these things. But if we continue doing this, and we would like your feedback on this, on whether you want to come again, then if we continue doing it, it'll probably go faster. Thank you, Colorado Freedom Alliance.
Thank you,
That was
Fay.
amazing.
This was so great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
share
Very
whatever you have. It's great.
That was interesting. Right before you started clearing, Faye, you know, the same sensation of the tingling. I still hear the sound, but I got a pain in my still again the left side,
Yeah.
pain in my elbow. As you were talking, it was like a throbbing on my elbow, and it went away.
It's just passing through, so nothing to be alarmed at. Very good.
I
Yes,
also
Lily.
was feeling on my left side. I didn't hear the sound at the beginning, but after you mentioned it, I heard it a couple of times. But mostly I had like a throwing up sensation at one point,
Yeah.
and pain or low cramps in all my left side.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know, when you have a pain, even outside of a clearing, when you have a pain, you actually can just let it move through you. And the only reason it continues to be painful is because it gets stuck. So that's another discussion, but very good, Lily. Yeah. Anyone else? Sandra? Nancy?
I had a on the left side as well. It was midway through. It was my left heel. Like the heel of my foot like got really sore. Like it felt like it was bruised. Like out of the blue kind of. And it was like, I think during the it was like probably the third clearing we were doing is when I felt that. And I ended up adjusting my whole body to like get, because I felt it kind of like I had to readjust everything and then come back in.
Well, you know, strictly speaking, or let's say generally speaking, the left side represents the feminine. In some people it's the masculine, but if it's a feminine for you, it's usually the giving and receiving, actually the receiving part of the giving and receiving. The masculine is the assertive, more giving. And if that is unblocking, that is a really good thing, because the feminine receiving aspect of the self has to be active and activated in order to be receiving those messages from the higher self. So that's really a good sign. Nancy, do you have something?
I actually just wanted to say that I need to take off. I just wanted to say thank you for this. It was wonderful. It was very informative. A lot, you know, a lot I knew, but a lot that was, I was able to reintegrate on a lot of the things that you said, and it was, and they meant more now because it, you know, I've been through a lot of it, but, and most everything that, that we went through today, I was cleared all the spots. I have a couple of stuck spots. I'll get those moving later tonight, but and mine was in my left arm and my left knee.
Very interesting. Very interesting today. Thank you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm really looking forward to going back over the recording. And I wanted to thank everybody that's here today. It was really good to meet you, and hope to see you again soon.
You too. Thank you, Nancy. And I will definitely get it posted for everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today.